Talk 980, CKNW.
The government of BC has removed the real estate industry's ability to regulate itself. But what does that mean for consumers? Well, my next guest is a real estate agent. He's also a blogger who has been doing a lot of work on the issue of house flipping. Steve Saretsky is his name. He's a realtor at Sutton Group West Coast Realty and joins us this morning. Steve, good to have you on the show.
Hey, John. How's it going? Thanks for having me.
You're welcome. Tell me about some of the numbers that you have discovered in terms of house flipping, because we've been talking a lot about foreign investment as driving this market, but you've come up with some numbers that would indicate that flipping is indeed a serious issue.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, just kind of witnessing it firsthand, I was kind of curious to go back and just kind of see what I could pull to the actual data on the MLS. So what I looked up was in the month of May for Westside Homes sales, basically just looked at how many times they had flipped previously in the last year. So basically dating back to May 15th, how many times they've transferred hands. Mm-hmm. And so we were able to determine that I think it was 15.6% of the homes were flipped within the 1 year window. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, I mean, it's a pretty staggering number.
And how did you do that? Did you simply go back and look at what were on the MLS listings?
Yeah, so you basically just go back, you look on the MLS listings, and then you go through. So for each sale, you go through the tax report. Okay. And on the tax report, you can see if the property is transferred hands. And then, so once I see that it's transferred hands, I'll go and pull up the previous sales listings for that property, so you can kind of go back and look through like old pictures and see if there's any kind of renovations done and that sort of thing. Mm-hmm. So I mean, just able to go and look back through that. I mean, I really couldn't see any renovations in any of them.
So 15.6% of homes on the west side, you believe have been flipped in the last year. Do you know how many times for each one? Because sometimes it's multiple.
Yeah, sometimes I'm multiple. I mean, I think I've told like one example was a home on Adara Street that was flipped 4 times in a matter of a 2-year window, and I think like it initially started out at like 5.5 million, and then recently sold in May of 2016 for like 7.6. Wow. Yeah.
And so that was flipped a total of 3 times.
4 times.
4 times. Okay.
Yeah.
And. Yeah. So what are, up to now, what have been the restrictions or the management of this, the oversight of this?
I think there's been very little. I think it's just totally like wild west out there right now. I think not just like I think like a lot of average like just local people here that don't really have like an investing background or even looking at buying properties and flipping them just because it's a pretty lucrative investment, if you can take a little bit of risk on and hold a property for 3, 4, 5 months, like, you're looking at a pretty good profit.
How much, you say 15% in a particular neighborhood, how much would that change prices, do you think? How much of a difference would it make to other prices in that neighborhood?
I think, if there was some kind of restriction on the actual flipping, I think it would definitely have an impact on the prices. Whether how much, I really don't know. But I mean, I believe that there also are other factors, and until you can really tackle those other factors as well, such as foreign capital coming in, I don't know how much of an impact speculation alone will be able to do, but I mean, anyone's guess.
What do you think of what the Premier had to announce yesterday, that the real estate industry is going to be now re-regulated by the provincial government and no more self-regulation?
Yeah, exactly. I think, I was discussing this yesterday. I think ultimately it's going to be a good thing for the consumers. I think, obviously we've had 10 years, to get it figured out, as Christy had mentioned, but I think ultimately, like, we're still kind of getting away from the real issues at hand. Like, I mean, no doubt that, the Real Estate Council has some issues. The public has lost some trust, so we need to regain that. We are too lenient with realtors. But ultimately, like I said, I think she's kind of using this to make it look like she's actually doing something productive. And I think we're really not focusing on the problems at hand.
Well, and what are the problems? We mentioned obviously flipping and foreign investment. What else do you see out there?
I think those are the two biggest drivers. Personally, I think it's speculation and foreign capital. I mean, you can talk about supply. Yes, there's limited amount of listings, but trying to flood the market with new builds, it's just not going to happen. Like we're tight on land here. It takes a couple of years just to get a condo built. And who's buying these condos? I mean, if you look at it, majority of these condos in Vancouver, Burnaby, they're all pre-sold to what they quote unquote, VIP buyers or friends and families of the developer. So, I mean, who really is VIP?
Somebody who has the most money, I guess, is generally how it works.
Exactly, and you're talking about, recently, like Navio, the Creek project, I think, the cheapest one bedroom that they had available to the public was a one bedroom starting at $749,000 in their north tower, and that's for just under 600 square feet.
Yeah. And the idea of supply, I mean, sure, it's I think it's crucial, but as many people have pointed out, and you too, and just in your last statement there, that these towers are built and they're sold before they even pour the concrete, and if they're being bought by people offshore, then all you're doing is supplying the offshore market. You're not making much of an impact on the local market because these places are bought up, by foreign investors. Let's
put it this way: if you're an average person trying to basically just buy a pre-sale condo right now, like if you don't have any connections, you don't stand a chance.
Really?
Period. Yeah, you don't stand a chance.
So if you see a building going up, or the sign says that they're for sale, and you go and walk in off the street, forget about it.
Forget about it. I mean, you can sign up on their list, and they'll keep you updated. But like I said, ultimately that's so Navio at the Creek, which is Concert Properties. They're probably the most fairest of them all in terms of letting the public actually access them.
Yeah.
So they just started their pre-sales to the public, but they already pre-sold 60% of the building.
All right.
So now they're giving everyone a chance, and basically it's just it's pretty much like a lottery, fill in which you want, and they're doing like a draw on July 5th to see who actually gets the available remaining unit. So I mean, you got to be really fortunate or have some ins to actually land one of these condos.
Steve, I appreciate your time very much this morning. Thank you. Steve Saretsky, a realtor at Sutton Group, West Coast Realty, and a guy who blogs a lot about what's happening in the real estate market.
Listen to CKNW anywhere, anytime at cknw.com or with the CKNW app.